com. In Consumer Power at 9:20, the Tax Administration Department, DSJ, promises to manage motor vehicle sticker shortage. In your community news at 10 o'clock, we visited a community near you to bring its issues to the fore. At 9:45, I'll be speaking with the Public Relations Officer of Deaf Sports Jamaica, Peter Kavanaugh. Mr. Kavanaugh will be talking about the organization's appeal for assistance to attend the Deaflympics in Bulgaria next month. Coming up at 10:05, it's open house, so I'll be taking your calls about your water problems, your light problems, all problems. We just want to hear them. And if good things are happening, call us and let us know about those good things. We also have the head of the Police Traffic Division, that's Senior Superintendent Radcliffe Lewis, and several reports that windshield wipers have been abusing motorists at stoplights in the corporate area. And at 11 o'clock, it's Legally Speaking with attorney at law, Wendell Wilkins. So listeners, At Your Service today is chock full of information that you can use. So please, stay with us. Don't leave. Okay, coming up now, you know what I have to check first.
Check mail. Check mail.
Welcome back. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. And we have a very special guest. And I'm going to ask all my listeners, you must stay with us. This gentleman is going to talk about some persons who they need our support. So stay with us. Don't move. We have on the line Public Relations Officer for Deaf Sports Jamaica, Peter Kavanaugh. I have it right, Peter Kavanaugh?
Well, yes, Mr. Darby, you're quite right.
Good to have you. Now, I must tell you, I am distressed. I see you have a challenge here, and your challenge is my challenge, and I'm sure that is going to be the challenge for all our listeners. And I see a letter here which you have sent to the Prime Minister, the Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, ONMP, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Minister of Defense Development, Information and Sports. It says, Dear Madam, urgent request for meeting to discuss sending DSJ athletes to Deaflympics, right, in Bulgaria, July 23 to August 5, 2013. Deaf Sports Jamaica, that's what DSJ stands for. Deaf Sports Jamaica is seeking your urgent intervention to send an official delegation of 15 persons to the above caption event, which will represent a first for Jamaica on the international scene. We believe that as Prime Minister, as well as Minister of Sports, you are a lady of vision with a caring heart, not just for the poor, but also for the disabled community, as reflected in your recent appointment of Senator Morris as head of the Senate. Last year, State Minister Natalie Nita Headley was the official guest speaker at our third National Sports Day held at the University of the West Indies, and at that event indicated the strong support of your administration for the local deaf community. This letter to the Prime Minister continues. It says, Jamaica over the years have sent able-bodied athletes to the regular Olympics and disabled ones to the Paralympics, but never the deaf to their own special events known as the Deaflympics. The Deaflympics has been running since the 1920s, when it was then called the World Deaf Games. Time is of the essence, and with an attached cost of $8 million to send or athletes, we recognize that only your intervention can help us to realize the dreams of the nearly 300,000 deaf persons in this society. Who knows, we might even have a deaf Usain Bolt among us. DSJ is therefore asking for an official meeting with you as our caring Prime Minister in the shortest possible time, as the window of opportunity is fast closing. And by the attached documents, you will see that the international deaf community intends to formally admit Jamaica at the official plenary session on 23rd of July 2013. So it is imperative that our flag bearers be present. Once again, the SJ and the entire deaf community thank you for what we know you will do for us in support of our cause and in keeping with Jamaica's commitment to the international conventions relating to the rights of persons with disability. And it signs Peter Kavanaugh. This letter was sent to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, ONMP. Mr. Kavanaugh,
Yes,
where
sir.
are we with this one now, sir?
Well, it has been a number of weeks since we delivered that letter in person to Mr. Delano Franklin, the PM advisor.
Mr. Delano Franklin, I'd love to hear from him.
I'd love to. Well, I know the whole of last week when we did communicate with Mr. Franklin, he seemed to have been quite tied up with the diaspora conference in Montego Bay.
Oh.
But haven't gotten the assurance from 2 weeks ago. And
So what, the hearing impaired people get left out?
well, my brother, it's a struggle now because we're wondering what to do next, because it is a first for Jamaica. We have the official invitation. Everything has been okayed in terms of our participation. There's a constitution that we had to submit a couple of years back, which was ratified, and it's going to be the formal introduction of Jamaica as a part of that illustrious body. And it's a very huge community, the deaf worldwide. It's not a small group we're talking about. A virtually on top resource, on top market.
I love how you said that, because while we believe that we can get money from the diaspora, persons having this challenge, I'm sure they would love to visit a country where persons understand their challenge and where persons are willing to treat them first class, give them first class treatment. So you're telling me you're not getting any positive responses at all?
No traction to see, my brother, because every time we've tried to get a feedback, we're not really been getting anything positive at all. And it's rather strange that if you were to look at the budgetary allocation over the years to the regular Olympics and even for the Special Olympics now. Even in March of this year, the PM actually did a special function at, it must have been a Jamaica House for the Special Olympians.
Yes.
But we have been beating this drum for a number of years now. We are part of the SDF structure in that they have a long-term vision. They know that from as far back as 2008, we had original communication with the International Committee of Sports for the Deaf, and they are the ones who manage the World Deaf Games, the World Deaf Olympics, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And from as far back as then, they have been saying to us, please, we'd love for Jamaica to come, because we have never seen that one athlete from this country. And this is after, you say, almost 90 years of non-participation.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell us, what do you see as some of the benefits, both for Jamaica and internationally? What are some of the benefits you see in our participation in this, all of this?
Well, the first thing that I see is that when we talk the talk, we must walk the walk as a country.
Yes.
And it cannot be that we have got a significant amount of our citizens who, by constitution or otherwise, have a right to certain amenities, certain facilities, and even to be regarded. As I look at a recent study that was done, in terms of the way that the normal Jamaicans would see a deaf person. Mm-hmm. And the feedback that you would get from the deaf individual is that, they call us dummy, they call us all these other things. And they don't realize that the only thing that a deaf person cannot do is perhaps to hear. And there are different levels of deafness, because, there's a continuum.
But hold on.
Very same,
But Mr. Kavanaugh, What about the rest of us that have been begging to do certain things in this country they can't hear? What do you call them?
Well,
are them deaf? Are them deaf? The people that you're talking about, they're just suffering from some hearing impairment. The rest of us who have to God give 2 years and we can't hear, and we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We ears black up. Are we deaf?
Yes, unfortunately, it would seem.
It's amazing.
But what I'm appreciative of is the fact that our media partners and our friends have been listening to an extent.
Yes.
Because over the years we do have excellent partners. The fact that I'm on this program speaking to you, and I know that you're going to use your good office to perhaps make some inquiries of relevant persons as to why is it that we're being left out. Why is it that SDF knew from as far back as perhaps 2 years ago, or more than 2 years ago, when we first started, that this event was coming up. This is an event that is of all events that would happen. The thought of being a part of an Olympic situation is a dream of so many Jamaicans,
Yes. And why deny these persons that dream? They are talented, they can run, they can do all these sporting activities. Why deny them this opportunity? Simply because they have a hearing impairment. Why?
I don't know, my brother. I mean, we were encouraged the other day by the appointment of course, my friend, Mr. Morris, as the head of the Senate, because we're saying finally Jamaica seems to be moving in a direction that, that we have long articulated. At the debates that were held, I mean, we had to stand up and say it is not right for the opposition and the government to actually having this series of debates and we're not present. But just try to imagine what it's like when you've got athletes who have made the Olympic qualifying standards that have been there waiting.
Really?
And they want a chance to carry the flag for their country. They love Jamaica no less than any other citizen.
Yes. But it does say something about us, sir. And I always say we're working to move this country forward economically. If we don't care for those of us who have a challenge, then you could have said you love people, you could have said you care for people till judgment come in. That's not, And just appointing somebody who is challenged to a big position, it might make the news. But then we're talking about hundreds of persons who we don't have time for. And that is what matters. That is what matters. Now let me ask you something. Have you been doing fundraising? How far are you now at in terms of funds? I know you're looking at about $8 million.
We have tried to approach different sponsors.
Yes.
Quite an extensive list of names, I can tell you. In the past, we have had partners like Juicy Patties for the first couple of years when we did the first series of national sports days, which began in 2010.
Yes.
They came on board very, very strong, and without their input, and I must say it at the time, without any fear of contradiction, that even the then our previous government, they did lend some support in terms of, I think it was transportation at the time, to get our athletes from different parts of the island to Manchester High School for the first 2 years. And for this event now, we have been approaching sponsors for a long time now. But the standard thing is, and I don't want to call off any sponsors, but is that we get some very nice letters.
Yes.
Which seem to indicate that thank you very much for the request. Unfortunately, they cannot deal with that issue right now, given certain things that I might be facing. Or it could be that they might have allocated their funds elsewhere. It's just, some people would say it's just not sexy at all being deaf in Jamaica. And study was done at this time to really see where we are the last 50 years.
Yes.
I don't think we feel very good about ourselves at all, because
Mr. Kavanaugh, we have to take a break, you see, and I hope my listeners are really listening keenly. I'd love to hear from you what you think. You really care about these persons? Because you don't have anybody in your family, or it don't happen to you. You really care? I'd love to hear what you think. Should we give these people a chance? Or we should close our ears, cock our ears, and play deaf? And don't listen to them? They are speaking out. They need your assistance. Why not give us a call? The landline numbers to call are 924. That's when we come back, by the way. I'm going to go for the break right now. So when we come back, you can call us. The landline numbers are 924-0753, 924-0739, 924-0222, 924-0696. Our cell number is 6188255. When we come back, we'll continue talking to Peter Kavanaugh, Public Relations Officer, Deaf Sports Jamaica. This is sad. We must listen to these people. Vernon Darby saying, soon come back. Don't move.
Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.
South Africa, we love you from Jamaica. We love you, Nelson Mandela, who make us love our color. When the wicked come for murder, you help us plus the savior. We love you, Nelson Mandela.
Listen to these and other tributes and learn more about our icons and about our history. Join host Professor Vereen Shepherd on Talking History, Saturday mornings from 9 to 10, only on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
We must think of those amongst us who are having certain challenges. Physical challenges, mental challenges, social challenges. Think of these people. Help them. And let me tell you, I'm telling you from personal experiences, blessings will follow you. Let's go back to talking to Mr. Peter Kavanaugh, Public Relations Officer, Deaf Sports Jamaica. Mr. Kavanaugh, you're ambitious man, so you're trying to make contact with what? Natalie Nita Headley? You're ambitious man.
It's a bit difficult because we have seen her. She was our guest speaker at our National Sports Day last year. Mm-hmm. But I think there's some difficulty actually getting to her at times because the experience that we seem to be having is that when we do try to get through, sometimes you do have your administrative assistant or so will kind of like speak. But then
the gatekeepers?
Yes, the gatekeepers, yes. My brother. And that is why, that is part of the reason maybe that we have had to take this course because, as State Minister, I would not expect the Prime Minister as the Minister of Sports and Defence and Information to have immediate hands-on regarding some of these subjects. Mm-hmm. One would imagine that, and that is not to level criticism at any minister, because to me sometimes the portfolio might be very, very wide. But from as far back as last year, we did get the assurance that certain things would have been done from that side, and unfortunately we have not seen the manifestation of that at all. And the deaf people, and not just the deaf, at least we're speaking about them, because every single deaf person within this country, they are a stakeholder.
Mr. Kavanaugh,
what is going to happen? And if we don't make it to this event in Bulgaria, it is going to be a crying shame on this country. It's going to speak not just to the level of or the awareness in terms of our country and our commitment.
But
and not just government side. This is not about government, because there are corporate entities out there who will readily take their money and put it in the direction of the able-bodied. We are currently in discussion with JMMB in regard to some support, but the support is not necessarily in a monetary form as we'd want it. They're trying to see how they can support us in some ways. So that's an ongoing thing, but it will not remedy what we require at this point. But
Mr. Kavanaugh, let me ask you: is it possible that the government is simply reflecting the feelings of the people of this country? You notice that the lines are open, sir. And I must tell you, we have not received one call. You heard me?
Yes, I hear, sir.
I don't want to put you down now because we know me can't put you down. Because you sound like a fighter. And we need persons to fight for these people. But let me tell you something. Even in our own families, think about it. If we have a son who can't talk, and a son who can't talk, who do you think we can spend the money upon?
The sad thing, Mr. Darby, is that when you do studies, I did an article which was carried in the Gleaner as far back as 2008. And that was when the Caribbean Christian Center for the Deaf was actually celebrating 50 years in Jamaica.
Yes.
And a part of that story it speaks to the fact that once upon a time, if you do have any of these conditions where perhaps you are not able to hear properly, or you might have some physical defect or so.
Right.
When strangers will come up with the people's house, they don't see these people at all sometimes.
Sir, guess what? Mr. Kavanaugh.
Or some back room or something.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
And are we as a country at this point in our history when we are supposed to be...
Mr. Kavanaugh, I have to cut you, sir.
Where are we?
Mr. Kavanaugh, I don't believe it. There's one person. God bless us. There's one person on the line. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
God bless you, sir.
So yes, thank you. Well, I'm blind.
Oh, my God. I was hoping that somebody who would have... Oh.
And I work with an organization called Creative Craft Plus.
Yes.
It's an organization that trains people who are blind and does a small antique business. And I would like him to send us a copy. We're going to make a contribution of at least $2,500 to the venture.
That is a sign that even though you have your challenges, you're going to do something. I'm proud of you, sir.
Yes, of course. I really believe that Jamaicans are good and kind people, but sometimes they don't really know what is happening. And we can't leave it to the officials alone because we know they have a lot of things that they think are priority and some of the smaller things.
You might put on big function every time one little post office open a big function and spend all our money.
Right, but I tell him to have heart. I know many persons who are hearing impaired and they're extremely devoted people.
Yes.
Definitely hardworking and devoted. And there's some organizations that do help persons who are hearing impaired, especially Grace Kennedy, and so maybe he could try and have dialogue with a few of them. I'm sure they'll be able to go.
Right.
But to be honest, it's the first I'm hearing about this aspect of it. And I think that maybe a whole lot of Jamaicans probably is hearing it for the first time as well.
Yes.
So maybe he needs to up the public relations aspect a little more. So if we're at 92 Hanover Street, and we'll certainly make that contribution. And I'm asking all persons out there, one of the problems about people with disability, you don't know when it will affect you. You're normal today, and next week you have a big problem.
Me, because today I talk tomorrow, well, this evening I don't know what can happen to me.
Exactly. Accidents can occur every day, so we need to build strong disabled organizations.
Yes.
Because we're just probably building it to help us later on.
Well, what's your number? Office number that you
948 3949. So I need a copy of the letter for my file, and I will do that. Plus, I'll ask my friends to help make a contribution.
Mr. Kavanaugh, you probably need to keep in touch with us. I need to probably have a bank account numbers and so on that persons can probably make lodgements too. But my concern is that you need a significant amount of funds. You're talking about you need to leave here. The game start July 23.
So, yes, 23rd is when they have a plenary session where we'll be formally admitted.
Yes.
During that plenary session, and then by the 25th, then the actual competition will begin.
And I'm making a public appeal, Mr. Delano Franklin. I beg of you, sir. You're a good somebody, a long time.
Yeah, he's a very good person.
Right? Give us a call. Make contact. We need to do something. Even if they can't go, even show this country that we tried. It don't look good. And let me tell you something, Mr. The gentleman on the line, and also Mr. Kavanaugh. It's all we are trying to make country move forward economically. if we don't care for one another, especially those who are having a challenge. Remember, I'm going to tell you, bad luck are going to follow the whole country. We're not heading nowhere. Or old people, those who are suffering from certain impairments, if we don't look after them, we're not going to reach nowhere. And if we don't pass that, the test there, passing IMF tests, neither here nor there. Thank you very much, caller.
You're welcome.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Mr. Kavanaugh, this seems as if it's a serious matter. We have to jump on it. Let me tell you, keep on keeping in touch with me. Send me emails at ayswithvernon@hotmail.com. Keep me abreast of what's happening. I don't know if you can do it in the short time. Send another letter to the Prime Minister, copy everybody and send me one too. To Mr. Franklin. I'm going to try and call him after this program. All right, sir?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. You have been most kind and supportive. And we know that we have our partners out there and our,
yes,
those who have whose heart happen to be with us. And so
yes,
we will be encouraged and we'll continue within the struggle. And we pray to God that, of course, we will be able to send our people to Bulgaria next month.
And I will jump for joy if you achieve that, sir. Other than that, I will have lost hope in my country. Jamaica, let's hear these persons who cannot hear for themselves. Vernon Darby saying to you, soon come back. Our news is coming up on the hour with Antoinette Shakespeare.